let's take a moment and talk a little bit about interior decoration and interior design and even staging, okay? A lot of times I will see very bold interior decorations, interior design choices. And while the people who make those choices spend a lot of money on those choices, many times, if the choices are too bold, it can make the property harder to resell. Okay? When you're making interior design choices or interior decoration choices, you want to make a choice that is easy to resell. The reality is that in real estate sales, we hear this all the time. I'm not leaving this home unless it's in a pine box. Ew. The reality is that while that sounds good, and I do hope everyone does live out their final days in their dream homes, their family homes, the places they want to be, many times it's not practical or pragmatic, and it doesn't make sense for somebody to do that, whether they got a job promotion, they lost a loved one, something happens, something changes in their life. And suddenly, because of a big change that was unforeseen by that person, they're suddenly considering a move. Well, look at here. If you've, decorated your home in a very bold and bombastic way, it can shrink the buyer pool. And a buyer pool is ultimately going to be effectively your demand on a property. I mean, ideally, you put the house on the market for one day and you have 10 offers. Well, if your home is, decorated like a discotheque from 1970s Athens, Greece, you're going to have a smaller buyer pool than, say, in Annapolis if you've gone with a contemporary, modern, maritime feel. Okay? I think ultramodern in Annapolis, Maryland is not really the medium here, but I definitely see kitchens, homes that have updates in them and are modernized, but they haven't lost that Annapolis feel. And I think that's very important when considering the choices and the taste that is made. I think if you're working with any good interior designer or you're working with any good interior decorator, you want somebody who's going to put the guardrails up. They're going to let you make choices. They have excellent communication with you, okay? But they make sure that you don't go completely rogue, I remember talking to a realtor one time and he said they put $1 million into the place. I'm like, they may as well have burned the money in the living room because that's how resellable this is. It all needs to be ripped out. And you have to remember that just because you like something, it doesn't mean that everybody else will, okay? And look, if you don't care and money is no object to you and we want to do it our way and I don't care, if that's where you're at, that's great. You do whatever you want. But for the vast majority of people, and you want to make choices that speak to a wider, broader audience. That way you have the most demand on your property when it comes time to sell, if that day ever comes, right? Too many times I've seen too many people make bold choices that they've liked, and that has not become a sale, okay, like a sailboat, but more of an anchor on their property, okay? And in real estate, we want things that lift us up, not drag us down, okay? So when you're vetting your people, your interior designers, your interior decorators, or even your stager, okay, use your better judgment. See what their results are, because what their previous results are going to be probably an indication somewhat of what your future results are, okay? If you're telling somebody something and they're not listening and they're not hearing you, that might not be the person for you. Because at the end of the day, an interior designer or an interior decorator is going to be making some indelible choices on your property. And indelible choices are things that somebody else is going to have to buy at some point in time, okay? So just food for thought, okay? You can't buy taste, you can buy things, okay? But remember, once permanent choices have been made to the property, it will affect its resale value, okay? And while I know everyone wants to say, this is my house, I'm never moving again, the average American buys 3 to 4 homes in their lifetime. So you might ask yourself, How many homes have I bought? How many homes have I purchased? Is it one or two? Well, if it's only one or two, there's probably a fairly good chance there could be an unforeseen event that happens in your life that causes a move. Therefore, you may have to market it to a wider, broader audience. Not to sound repetitive. Folks, thank you for tuning in. Wanted to share my thoughts on interior design, interior decorators, and I will see you around Annapolis. Have a great day.